This year has reminded us of the importance of saving for the unexpected. And as a bank, our job is to make that a little easier for everyone. That's why at Huntington, we're so proud to introduce Money Scout. It analyzes your checking account to find money that's not being used and moves it to your savings automatically. It's that simple, so you can always be saving, even now. Learn more and enroll at huntington.com/moneyscout. Huntington, welcome. Money Scout is subject to eligibility, terms and conditions, and other account agreements. Member FDIC.
I don't know why I made that a bigger deal than it had to be. I always do that. It's just a clap. I just freak out mentally. Who am I this week? It's season 3. Fuck. Who am I? Battle. Pick somebody for me.
Wait, what?
Your Battle for season 3?
Yeah, season 3, I'm Battle.
I'm the Cookie Monster for season 3. My wife just brought me cookies, that's why.
Oh, perfect.
Your hair's almost blue.
It's supposed to be purple.
Oh, it's purple, for sure.
Yeah, no, it's definitely purple, but close enough to blue as we got.
I don't know, I'm probably a massage gun today, because I need it, and my shoulders have terrible mobility.
I feel you on that. I'll be hitting these dips. These dips fucking suck.
I hope that your shoulders feel better, and...
You know, if I just, stretched and, slept appropriately, I think my body would, recover better.
But you go to the gym and you're just like, oh, I don't feel like stretching because I don't got time for that.
I don't have time to stretch. I don't have time to take care of myself.
Oh, you know what's exciting about this episode?
What?
The premiere.
Yeah, it's the premiere episode because we're back from our brief hiatus. And I heard that deep swallow.
Can you hear it? Wait, who swallowed?
You.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, because Battle snacking away, season 3. He's carbo loading, get hype. And what's different about this season is each episode's going to have its own theme and its own vibe. Yeah, that's what you're here for. You're here for the fucking vibes, man. We're all just vibing out at the end of the day. And for our first episode, we're going to be doing murder. Covering some heinous crimes. And wrapping up at the end, you'll hear Robert's Weird of the Week. And a residential goth boy is going to hit you with some shit.
Something a little spooky or evil or terrible.
I hope you do it in your voice that you do when you're reading your poem. I love that voice.
Those sweet dulcet tones.
Oh, that voice actually takes weird focus and every once in a while I'll go back and listen to one and I'm like, oh, what is this terrible thing? Everyone hates the sound of their own voice though.
Oh, I can't stand it. And that's why I hate editing so much because I just hate listening to myself. So Battle, do you want to do the honors or do you want me to take it?
Mine is pretty long.
That's what she said, so why don't you go?
Man.
Actually, if it's long, I can go, because mine isn't that long.
Okay, whatever.
Alright. I'm sorry to blue ball you on that one.
Okay. That's one of my kinks.
Never mind.
I like the blue ball.
I regret saying that. Alright, moving on. Mine is about the murder of Franchelli Almonte. And this case is really about a young black woman who was trying to help out a friend and got caught up in some deep shit.
Sitting around, memories coming from my head. Oh, the nostalgia when I recall the moments we had. Wanting to grow up seems so distant. Pull me back and watch me go. Like penny cards from you. years ago.
So now, Franchelli was a 36-year-old mother of 2, and friends describe her as just a caring mother and protective friend. She was selfless, and that actually ended up screwing her over in a situation. So a friend of hers called her on Friday to ask if she could give her a ride to her daughter's house, or her daughter's boyfriend's house, to pick up her daughter because her boyfriend was just an abusive, controlling asshole. And she wanted to get her 17-year-old daughter out of that situation. She agreed, her friend out, because she's a caring person like that, and drove like a couple hours to her friend's daughter's boyfriend's place to get the 17-year-old away from him. So now, as the teen's mom was like trying to talk to her and like get her to come out, the boyfriend started getting angry and chucked a brick at the back window of Franchelli's van. That obviously pissed her off. They're arguing, and as they're arguing, they said it kind of happened fast, but he pulled out a knife and stabbed her several times. And while he was stabbing her, she was able to like get a stick and beat him off. And amidst the fight, she got away. Everyone got in the car and they drove off. Now the adrenaline's coming down, and she's starting to realize that she's a lot more hurt than she thought she was. And she pulled out of her car when she started having trouble breathing. And she was taken to the hospital later that night and pronounced dead.
Wow. So stabbed to death.
Yep.
Trouble breathing, so maybe stabbed in the lung? Maybe having some lung bleeding?
Or even just the loss of blood. Because once your adrenaline starts wearing off, you know, those blood vessels and shit just start opening back up.
Things start to hurt.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's just the pain alone could have caused you to shorten your breath. And
one of my like biggest fears in the world is like getting crazy pneumonia or getting stabbed in like the lung or something and drowning on land. That like drowning in your own blood or in your own mucus. Like
terrible.
Oh, nightmares.
Yeah. Fun fact: I have one lung, so if I ever get stabbed, just aim for the left side.
And so you need a
lung.
Use that side in defense.
That side, yeah. I'm not leaning with my left.
About you.
Yeah, it's not like a visible thing, but yeah, I was a premature baby. Left lung didn't develop. Here I am. I wish I had two. I bet life was a lot sweeter with two.
I wonder if you could like build a little compartment in the space that is typically occupied.
Stem cells, bro. Stem cells.
Oh no, I was going to I'm just gonna cut a little slit in my ribs and throw a coin purse in there.
Yeah, why not?
I think it works that way, but
yeah, your body won't reject that foreign matter.
Not at all. No, I'll just use like some Purell every day.
Purell? That sounds painful.
You'll hear me just like walking up, jingling everywhere I go. But yeah, and that's my case.
Well, I don't know if you're ready for mine because it's a sad case and it took 23 years to actually solve.
To research it?
No, not to research it. To solve. So, I want to warn everyone, sorry to start off the season this way. I think my very first episode with Bruh's Murder was with a kid. So this season...
You covered a lot of kids.
Because a lot of kids get murdered, and it's crazy.
I know. You always just want to tell me about it.
Well, surprise everyone, this is about the murder of an 11-year-old boy named Christopher Allen Brown. And it sucks because it took place in April of 1925 in Flint, Michigan. Of course, Flint, Michigan, everyone.
I'm going to say Flint can never get a goddamn break.
Flint there's always something going on with Flint, so...
They still don't have clean water. There's still not clean water in Flint, Michigan.
So, Christopher was a bright young boy who came from a broken home. They often called him Alan, his middle name. And Alan was born November of 1973. Brenda, Alan's mother, said that it was love at first sight for her and that he brought her so much love and joy into her life. Super sweet, I know. She said that he excelled in school and in sports, and he thoroughly loved the arcade game Pac-Man. which I was terrible at as a kid.
It's those little details that like make it so sad.
Yeah. And he also loved to fish. His parents did divorce, and he often had to go back and forth between his mother's house and his father's house. And
Been there.
I know how that is too. Actually, my dad just disappeared eventually, and he's just like, deuces.
Haven't been there.
So, according to Acquisitor.com, Alan actually liked spending time with his dad, as he was really close to him. He had a great time when he was with his dad. However, he did feel uncomfortable when he was around his stepmom, Rosalind Brown. He didn't like staying there when she was there, and that was a mystery to everyone because they didn't know why he didn't like to stay there when she was around or when she was there. So the last day his mother, Brenda, actually saw her son was in April 1985. On this day, Alan, he was supposed to go on a fishing trip with his dad, or go fishing with his dad, because he loved to fish and he loved his dad. But Alan knew something was wrong when his stepmom ended up picking him up to go to their house. And according to Alan's aunt, even though he left with his stepmom, he was crying the whole time, and he was begging his aunt to, like, no, don't let me go. I want to stay here. And that was the last time anyone saw him alive, or any of his family that saw him alive.
Kids and dogs are excellent judges of character.
Right?
Oh yeah.
And if they're like uncomfortable around someone from the get-go, like this, like you gotta trust them and like investigate even a little bit about
Totally
what's going
agree
on.
with that. Completely
My little
agree.
cousin called me ugly, and I was like, "Damn, she right." The bitch pegged me.
So, when Brenda got home from work and Alan was not home at 11 p.m., she knew something was wrong. So naturally, Brenda calls the ex-husband, trying to figure out where he was. Her ex-husband let her know that they didn't ever go fishing. Alan was home with his stepmom and other kids when his stepmom told him to go eat McDonald's that she had brought for him. So, sometime in between eating food, Rosalind goes out to go to a job interview, and when she comes back, Alan is gone. She claims, according to NBC News, that she went to look for Alan around the neighborhood, but couldn't find him, and eventually ended up calling the police. So
I already don't believe her. I don't know.
Well, on April 12th, 1985, Alan was reported missing from his father and stepmother's house. So Brenda actually goes out with her friends, her families, the neighbors, to do a search party of their own, despite the police launching their own investigation. And according to Brenda, they went everywhere. They talked to people, they showed them pictures, they asked anyone if they'd seen him or seen anything, like they would do like during a search, and there were absolutely no leads. The sergeant of this case, very, very interesting dude, like fucking, I don't know. But the sergeant of this case, Sergeant Francis Toll, first thought he was a runaway or a kidnapping, thus notifying the FBI to get involved. Because I think he was a minor, so they got the FBI involved in that. And unfortunately, even with the FBI involved, there were still no leads. So days go by, then weeks go by, and after 18 days, on April 30th, they searched the Flint River. By noon that day, they found a body. And it was Alan's body. Alan was buried May 10th, 1985. And they ended up at first ruling it a drowning after an autopsy. they figured that Alan went down to the river. He slipped and fell into the river and drowned because they knew that Alan couldn't swim. But one thing that was extremely disrespectful, the authorities, specifically that sergeant, asked Brenda if he drank alcohol.
The
11-year-old. Yes, exactly.
11-year-old.
The 11-year-old.
The same.
boy.
Okay. Okay.
Didn't we already establish that he was like athletic to
Yes.
some degree?
Yes, and like.
So where was the assumption that he can't swim coming from? Just like good old fashioned racism?
Well, I don't
or-
know. Like they just when I was reading
Go
about
ahead.
it, they were just saying
Speak up.
like he couldn't swim, so he drowned because he couldn't swim. But that's all that was said, and I thought it was weird too because
Oh, the boy
It
who
was-
can't swim go near river.
yeah, it's really interesting. This case is really weird.
Today is nonstop. And suddenly, your checking account is overdrawn. But what if we gave you more time on that one? At Huntington, if you accidentally overdraw your account by $50 or less, we've put a $50 safety zone in place, so you won't be charged an overdraft fee. It's one more way we're looking out for you, so you can have time for what matters most. Huntington, welcome. $50 safety zone does not apply to returned items. Your account will be automatically closed if it remains negative for 60 days. Learn more at huntington.com/safety zone.
But yeah, they're saying that this 11-year-old boy was an alcoholic, and even though he did exceptionally well, like with everything while he was alive, but the reason they asked if he drank alcohol was because they did a second autopsy, and the second autopsy showed that he had a blood alcohol level of 0.15, which the legal limit is 0.08. So he was almost twice the amount of alcohol in his body.
So he had to be poisoned, probably.
Oh wow!
Oh, interesting.
Not only was there alcohol, but there was also another reading of 0.07 of rubbing alcohol in the system as well. So you hit that right, like he was poisoned. So they ended up changing the case from an accidental drowning to a homicide. And it's important to note that Sergeant Toole felt that, and I quote, he got into his parents' liquor cabinet or got with his friends and they had some alcohol and was part of drinking.
They drank a bunch of rubbing alcohol.
Yeah, right?
But those 11-year-olds, man.
Well, it's not even just, tried to drink rubbing alcohol because they're dumb and they're kids. Drank enough rubbing alcohol to, change your blood alcohol content.
Yeah.
Like,
that's like a drink of, 0.07. Like, a drink is just 0.08. Or that's the legal limit of being intoxicated. So if he's 11, I'm 31, and if I have a drink, I feel like my skin gets really hot.
Yeah.
It's that Asian flush. that comes out. But regardless if that happened,
Can't relate.
the FBI, they kept investigating. What I hate about this next part is that I know this happens a lot, and there were a lot of tips that were called in that were pretty much useless. They're saying that he got into this car and all this other information, and the thing is, there was no consistency what type of vehicle that he actually got into or what color the vehicle was. They were all different cars. They're all different colors. So it was stupid. But something that was happening in nearby cities was that a white male was forcing boys to drink alcohol, and then he would rape them, and then he would kill them. However, there was no evidence that actually linked that killer to be in that area at the time. But something that was important to realize was that Brenda was very fixated on why Alan didn't want to go to his dad's house, specifically when his stepmom was there. She felt very uncomfortable, she felt very apprehensive, but she just had an intuition that something else was happening there.
Yeah, I do too.
Right? Just wait. And According to NBC News, Brenda said in an interview that Rosalind went to McDonald's to get them some food, and she was in a hurry to get to the job interview, so she just dropped the food off and left. And that's when she told Alan to go get the food, go in and get the food, but he never went into the house, according to Rosalind. So something was very wonky for Brenda, like she was just, the wheels were turning. And it's also important to note that Brenda said that Alan wouldn't go anywhere without asking for permission. So he listened to his parents, and he was smart about his decisions. Another thing that Brenda said during this interview was that she did not like the way that Rosalind treated her son. And of course, her ex-husband didn't believe her or her son when he said there's something wrong. So, after a lot of searching and after a lot of questioning, this case goes cold. There are no leads, there's no nothing. There's just this dead boy that had been poisoned. So eventually Brenda relocated back to California, but she never tried to figure out like what happened to her son. And eventually, after 17 years, Brenda decides to move back to Flint, Michigan, and tries to figure out the case again. So she's constantly trying to figure out what went wrong. She tried reaching out to the police department, but all they did was ghost her and act like, they didn't return any of her phone calls. And after about 19 years, a retired detective named Gerald Parks eventually came and volunteered to take the case, and it was said that he worked for $1 a month. He was really trying to because he was already retired, so he was volunteering to get this case done, to figure out what happened. Eventually, after looking over the case files, he started to look at Rosalind more because of different things she said back in '85. The reason why is because he interviewed her again, and he made a statement saying that it's hard to remember a lie, but it's easier to remember the truth. If you try to remember a lie that you told, it's harder to remember that than something that you've actually done.
I'll keep all mine in the book, so.
Hey, don't incriminate yourself. I'll start looking for the book.
So eventually they get a lead to this woman named Kathy. And Kathy saw Rosalind and her brother Montel forcing Alan to drink and molesting him before he actually died. And this was months before he died. This is a new lead. This was just someone that gave the statement, or she came out and gave the statement. So eventually, this was during '85, and eventually they end up tracking Kathy down to question her. And Kathy was in North Carolina at the time. And get this, the reason Kathy knew what was going on was because Kathy was married to Montel, which is how she knew what was going on. Kathy said they would put alcohol and Kool-Aid, and they would put it in his food and make him eat it. They said that they were very abusive to him, but they were also abusive to Kathy, which is why she kept her secrets all these years. She was afraid. But going back to Rosalind, they let her know that she was implicated in a murder. And it took nearly 4 hours of questioning before Rosalind actually admitted to the murder. From the audio tape, which I don't have, but I do have a transcript from NBC, Rosalind said, "I took Montel to the river and he threw him. I didn't see him poison him. I didn't see him. I didn't poison him. I never touched the boy, and I went home. Now you talk to Montel. He's going to say I did it. Go ahead. I'll be your witness. I'll take your polygraph or whatever you want me to do. So can I please go home now?" So she admitted that she did it, but then she put the blame on her brother. So what they did was they would poison him, then they would molest him, and then the last day that he was alive, they overdid it, and they actually killed him. And I don't think it was one of those accidental deaths.
Yeah, it wasn't a plan.
Yeah, I don't think that was planned. So They tried to hide the evidence, and for 22 years, they were able to go free. But after that 22 years, justice was finally brought to Alan because of that detective that wanted to close the case, because of a mother who never let her love die. These killers were finally named. Rosalind Brown and her brother Montel Pettiford were both charged with murder. They were charged with first-degree murder, to be specific, and they are now serving life in prison.
Got him.
Yeah.
Well, this had a happy ending, because shit, that was a fucking ride.
Yeah. Right?
Well, and I mean, kudos to all the people who, so many years after the event, continued to, like...
Kept it alive, yeah.
Kept it alive, yeah.
It's a community thing, man.
It's about the family.
Yeah. Well, and I
love
mean,
that.
there's big implications for someone in your community killed somebody, and you don't
Right.
know who.
And what's crazy is it was someone that they knew, like, but they knew something was up, but they could never pinpoint it, which is one thing I always said that I
really
do.
be your own people sometimes.
Right? Listen to kids. Like, kids are, like, I don't think they're just making shit up.
Yeah.
All
Well,
the
and
time.
even if it's like something small like bullying going on at school, if
Right?
your kid is like, sick every day and like crying because they don't want to go to school. Like,
Do
maybe
something
explore some like emotional
I just ask a kid
outreach.
why. You ask a kid why, they'll tell you.
Man, very sad.
Yeah. It was a sad one.
So, given that we just came off hiatus, there was a very weird thing that happened over Christmas morning, to be precise. There was a bombing in Nashville. This made, huge news. It took a lot of people by surprise. And, obviously we don't know motives yet, but they do have a primary suspect, which is everything's pointing to this one individual.
In the Ben 10 RV, I saw that.
Yeah. Literally the first thing I thought about when I saw that RV.
Same. I was like, oh my god, it's Ben 10
Straight out of Ben 10. So we don't necessarily know why the suspect did create this bomb and blow up their RV on the streets of downtown Nashville. So currently, obviously this is all alleged at this point, but it is Anthony Quinn Warner, who's 63, is the primary suspect.
Was
What?
he or is? Was
So is. He still is. Well, he passed away. He died.
So he ain't was yet.
So he's currently missing, I believe, technically.
He might have was.
The RV is... A similar RV was registered to him. He can't be found. So, for all intents and purposes, this is the man. So
May or may not be was.
he may or may not be was. So 1:30 a.m. on Christmas Day, so night of Christmas Eve, essentially. It's believed that Warner drove his RV into the location where it kind of just sat, and it was next to an AT&T building transmission facility, which provides wireless service to much of the region. And then later that morning, it began playing music, and a automated female voice began letting people know that they should evacuate the area, and a bomb was going to go off in 15 minutes, 14 minutes, so on.
I wouldn't have believed that. I'm so fucking stupid. I would have thought someone was joking.
also, like, there is a TikTok. They're like, play this backwards, and it was saying something else. I was like, wait, what? What's going on?
I don't go.
So I
that's
just
why
closed it on
I
my
use
TikTok because
Someone showed me Hotep TikTok, and I was like, I can't be on that.
Oh no. So people in the area woke up early that morning claiming to have heard some sort of gunshots. So there may have been a recording of gunshots as well. Someone called the police about the gunshots. When the police came to investigate, they identified the RV as suspicious, and they called the bomb unit. But at that point, the countdown had already begun, and while the bomb unit was en route, it was detonated. People, almost 10 miles away could still hear the blast. It was quite large. You should at some point go look up the photos of the devastation that this RV did. It was huge bomb, and there has only been one body found, which is believed to be Warner, so possible suicide. Not sure if murder was the intent, because Again, the voice recording was letting people to get out of the area. There were 3 people who were sent to the hospital, but they were not in critical condition. So who knows? For all we know, it was ear damage from the explosion or shrapnel, something like that. As far as this guy's background, neighbors called him a hermit, and that he had a history within IT, information technologies, that he didn't really have
the nerds
friends.
Always the hermits.
Kind of Unabomber vibes. Semi-intelligent person and strange end to their life. He did have a conversation with one of his neighbors before, I think a few days before the explosion, and according to them, he said he was going to be famous, that soon everyone was going to know who he was. So, one more thing that kind of points to this is the gentleman. Others have speculated that the bomb was planted next to the AT&T building because of possible 5G conspiracy. So,
always the whole
yeah. You would think, like...
You're making me mad right now.
I'm sorry, Battle. So, hopefully we can find some sort of, like, manifesto or something within Warner's belongings detailing the reasons why he did such a horrible, strange act. So the bomb was in Tennessee, but apparently Anthony Quinn lived in a nearby city, Antioch. So he did travel to this location specifically and tried to not hurt any individual, it seems. Developing case, kind of strange.
I'm really wondering what his intent is behind that. Because if you're going to warn
I hope it's not the 5G thing. I saw a Reddit discussion about, like, well, it could be 5G. He planted it next to an AT&T transmission facility.
I wish people knew how waves propagate through time and space. I've taken an electromagnetics waves class, and I know about this.
He's about to
So
fuck
I'm
out.
fucking mad that anyone is saying 5G is going to do whatever. No.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck
Well,
up.
and the people complaining about 5G still stand in front of their microwave, so...
Yeah.
Wait, is that a bad thing?
No, it's not. You're fine. You're fine. Just don't,
I
try
gotta
to turn
watch-
on your microwave with the door open.
I gotta watch my Hot Pockets cook.
Yeah. This
Oh,
here,
on the subject of smartphones, if another person tells me that there's a chip in the vaccine, dog, you carry a tracking device on you every day that
Or
the government has access
Give
to.
me a fucking chip in my arm so I don't have to carry keys. I don't have to carry, identification
things would be so much more
anymore.
convenient.
I don't have to, carry my payment anymore. Fuck a wallet, because I'm tired.
Bruh is the future.
Just
Bruh, it's the
NFC
future.
connection, everything. Bro, it's the future.
Well, on those futuristic notes, I hope you stick around for the rest of season 3. If you're new, subscribe, leave us a review. If you're old, watch that back lubrication needs. Check out the links below for all the merch and whatnot, all the important stuff. If you want to donate, you can do that too. I have nothing else to plug. Battle.
Yeah, I forgot. We forgot. Andre forgot. We're Brothers Murder, where we bring you true crimes of
Oh my
color, and we play music that you've probably never heard of before. Thanks for listening. See
Yeah.
ya, fam.
Bye.
OMW, on my way to you. Good at what I do. I'm OMW. OMW, on my way to you. Good at what I do. I'm OMW. Watch me walk away, putting myself on display. 1, 2, 3 a day. I'm on my way, on my way. I'ma have you on tiptoes, watching my diamond afterglow. I know you wanna take me home. I'm on my way, on my way. OMW, on my way to you. Good at what I do. I'm OMW. OMW, on my way to you. Good at what I do. I'm OMW. On my way, on my way. They wanna judge judge me, I'll testify. Catch me on Insta, I'm verified. They want me quiet, I amplify. I'm on my way to the best thing that you've ever seen. You know that you bow to the queen. You lose all your senses and reason. I'll give you something to believe in. OMW, on my way to you. Good at what I do. I'm OMW. OMW, on my way to you. Good at what I do. I'm OMW.
On my way, on my way. On my way, on my way.
Yeah, OMW, nothing left to prove. So enjoy the view, taking a picture like Malibu. I'ma have you on tiptoes, watching my diamond afterglow. I know you wanna take me home, I'm on my way, on my way. OMW, on my way to you. Good at what I do. I'm OMW. OMW, on my way to you. Good at what I do. I'm OMW.